Hello, everyone. I'm Heidi Dean, social media coach for actors, and I am so excited to be here to teach you 5 game-changing Instagram tips for actors. And I know that kind of sounds like a bold statement that these are game-changing, but I promise you that if you do the work from today, you're going to see big results on your Instagram. Because the 5 things we're going to talk about today are going to help you grow your audience for your career. They're going to help you connect with your followers better, which of course is going to have an awesome side effect of increasing your engagement. They're also going to help you use hashtags the right way so that you actually make connections and you actually see follower growth. And really, the 5 things you're going to learn today on Instagram are going to help you take your life back so that you're not spending hours on Instagram every day. So let me know if that sounds awesome, exciting. Give me a woohoo in the chat, which I can see today. I'm so excited. The chat was not working when I was here 2 weeks ago. And tell me where you're coming from. Sarah's from London, Nicole's from Seattle. We've got Saskia from California, Emily from Michigan, Elizabeth from New York City, New York in the house. Thank you guys for joining me. This is going to be a lot of fun today. Like I said, we're going to do 5 game-changing tips for actors on Instagram. Sean, welcome. Opal, I love that name. Anna, Lisa, Mary Beth. Awesome. Keep it coming. Keep telling me where you're coming from. Awesome. Yay, I love these lives. These are so great. So let's just dive right in. I've got a lot to cover, and I want to have time at the end for questions, to answer all your Instagram questions. So let's start with the first tip. The first tip for Instagram for you guys. And it's really how you're approaching your posting. Okay. I want you to start thinking about your Instagram more like a we than a me. Okay. So many of you guys, so many actors are treating their Instagram more like a television, and they're broadcasting their news at people instead of treating it like a telephone and actually talking with people. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. So many actors are saying, look at my reel, look at my headshots, look at my video. I'm on this, I'm in this. Catch me out. Did you catch me on this show? That is a very one-sided broadcast posting plan, right? So instead of broadcasting your news at people, I want you to create posts that open a dialogue so you can talk with people. And in the ever-changing world of social media algorithms, this is the secret to showing up in the feed. Okay. And if you don't know what an algorithm is, or if you just don't know how the Instagram algorithm is working in 2020, hold that question and I will dive into it in the Q&A. Okay. So there's so many different ways we can do this, right? There's so many different ways we can take a post that is like a me, right? A look at me. It's more like a broadcast and turn it into a conversation. But let's go with the easiest way to do this that you could do the minute we get off today. So the easiest way to take it from a we to a me is to take that post and turn it into a question. And since we're on Instagram, we're talking about the caption, right? So say you do a post about something you booked, right? So if you're on a show, ask your audience what they think is going to happen or what their favorite part of the episode is. Instead of just saying, hey, this is when I was on this show or this show. Ask them some questions to get them involved. Or let's just do an example that could be anything, not even a booked it post. And sorry, I got distracted. I love your pillow. I love my pillow too. Thank you, Emily. So say you wanted to post, maybe it's a photo of you, and then you put a quote underneath in the caption. Or maybe you actually do post a quote. Instead of just putting that quote without anything else, make it a dialogue. Ask your followers a question. Say, what do you think? Right? What do you think? Agree or disagree? Has this ever happened to you? Are you with me? How about you? You can see where I'm going with this, right? What did you do? Can you relate? So by adding this question at the end of the post, where your call to action to get them to do something would be, you are making your post a conversation and a dialogue, and you are inviting your followers in. You are using Instagram like a telephone instead of a television. And I promise you, this is going to help you start showing up at the top of the feed for your followers. So let me know, guys, if that makes sense. I want to see some thumbs up. I want to see some comments that makes sense. that you guys are going to start treating your post like a we, not just a me. Okay. So those two examples I just gave you guys, they're on the feed. But the great thing is if you're using Instagram Stories is already built for conversation, right? So they give us tons of ways to have conversations. Just go go into polls, emoji slider polls. We've got question stickers. The new create tab, if you haven't used that, is built for conversation. Okay? And I see lots of thumbs up. Gotcha, makes sense, makes perfect sense. Perfect. I love seeing all the thumbs up and the amens. So Instagram Stories is a great place to already use these built-in features to create conversations. Or even just think like at the bottom of our stories, there is an opportunity for anyone to direct message you after they see a story. That is built for conversation, right? So it's all set up for that. We can even extend this idea of conversations to your comments. So when followers comment on your post, or maybe they give you a little cute direct message after your stories, acknowledge them. You know, I have 35,000 followers. Sometimes I get 500 comments on a post, and they might take me a couple days. I acknowledge every single person who comments. Okay. It may just be with a like if it's 500 comments. But I acknowledge these people. You have to care about your followers before they ever care about you. Okay. And by acknowledging this, making a conversation, it is how I've grown my following to 35,000 strong. Okay. Perfect. This is so what I needed, Marie. Say, I see actors that don't engage with their followers and everything is about them all the time. It creates a disconnect. Exactly. It is called social media for a reason. And really, the effects of treating your social media like a telephone over a television, they are huge. It's why I have engagement on Twitter when everyone says, oh, I can't get engagement on Twitter. I treat my posts like a conversation. I treat my comment streams on Instagram like a conversation. I treat my stories like a conversation. Okay. So that is your first tip today, guys, is make sure you are treating your social media like a telephone more than a television. Got it? Awesome. And I am so, so happy I have chat today. Perfect. And I see your questions, guys. Katie is working with Backstage. She is awesome. Yay, Katie, social media manager. She's collecting questions right now, but make sure if you really want them answered, make sure you ask them again at the end, okay? So that was number one. Number two, I think we'll just dive into hashtags. This is going to be really game changing for you guys. So number two is that you guys need to start choosing the right hashtags. Okay. I'm going to have a sip of coffee before I talk about this. Okay. So hashtags on Instagram. A lot of you guys are using them, but you're not using them the right way to make connections or to see follower growth. It's just fact. Okay. Hashtags on Instagram need to be two things. Number one, they need to be relevant and they need to be specific. Okay. Relevance pretty obvious. We need to make sure these hashtags are relevant to the subject matter of our post. I am all for prepping ahead of time. I think you should do your hashtag research ahead of time. I think you should have them in groups on your phone, and there's different savvy ways you can get those uploaded to your post too. I think you should prep it ahead of time. However, just copying and pasting the same hashtags on all your posts is doing you a disservice, and they're not relevant to your post because you can't tell me the same hashtag group that you use all the time is relevant to every single thing you post. Okay? You need to get more specific. So yes, go ahead, plan ahead, get those hashtags planned out ahead of time. But before you hit send, I want you to look at those hashtags and say, can I get more specific? Is there one that explains the post a little bit different? Don't just use the same ones. And the reason why is this last year, we got this ability to follow hashtags, not just people. So if you don't know that, we can actually go to hashtag search and follow popular hashtags. They'll show up on our feed just like the people we follow. It's pretty cool. And you may now have the opportunity, if you're using hashtags, to show up in people's feed, even if they're not following you. Awesome, right? So that's the pro. The con of this new feature is that it's a pretty big con if you're not using relevant hashtags. So if you're just hashtagging for the hell of it and you're just copying and pasting those same hashtags and they're not totally relevant, anybody can go to the top corner of your post. There's those three little dots and they'll say, do not show for this hashtag. Now, if one person says that, nothing's going to happen. But if Instagram keeps giving notifications saying, don't show for this hashtag, they're going to know that you're trying to game the system or you're just not being relevant with your tags. Okay. So just make sure your hashtags are always relevant to the post. Got it? That's a simple thing most of you guys probably know. Hashtags. Number 2, they need to be specific. So I'm so glad I can see chat right now. Chat, I want to know from you guys, what are, I say, the top 2 or 3 hashtags you use on your acting post, like consistently? What top 2 posts hashtags would you use all the time on your acting post? Okay, and now if you're watching the replay, it's for my replay people later on, you can type these in the comments below too, since you can't do chat after the fact. So I want to see, what hashtags are you guys using consistently on your acting post? Just give me like 2 or 3. I'd love to see. Now, the problem with chat is it's a little delayed, so I'm gonna keep talking and then I'll look at the chat. So what's great, what I see a lot of my clients do and a lot of my students do is they're focusing on these big, huge hashtags, right? They've looked up like a list of the most popular hashtags for actors. But if you have less than 10,000 followers, guys, if you have a small following, focusing on these big hashtags are keeping you from success. I see hashtag Broadway. I saw hashtag musical theater, hashtag actor, hashtag film actor, hashtag set life, hashtag actor's life, hashtag actor, hashtag actor's life. Exactly what I thought I was going to see. I want you guys to mix up your hashtags, and here is why. Let me show you in Instagram. Okay, we'll see. I've got my ring light on, so it's kind of hard to see. But if you guys go into hashtag search, and you guys can also watch this replay later and follow along with me later too. If we go to hashtag search and say we look up hashtag actor, because I know I saw that in there many, many times. Hashtag actor has 33.4 million posts. Just think about that for a second. 33.4 million posts. That is a whole lot of posts to compete with, right? Now, when we go in here, we have 2 streams. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see the top and the recent. Those are 2 different tabs. Top post, if you have a small following and you don't have very much engagement, for a hashtag like hashtag actor with 33.4 million posts, you will not show up as a top post. Just, it's not going to happen unless your post goes viral somehow. You will not show up in that feed. But then when we look at the recent post here, this is recent over here. Now the recent post, these are everybody on Instagram that is using the hashtag actor. It's in reverse chronological order, meaning the most recent ones are at the top. There's a whole lot of competition here. When I signed on, let me see. Let me refresh. Okay, the guy at the top here, it's like a little meme kind of thing. If I talk for 30 seconds and I swipe down again, he's going to move. Holy cow. And I literally swiped after 10 seconds. Where is he now? Can you see? It's like a little meme. He is, oops. He's going to be off the page now that I just swiped up. He is all the way down here. I have to scroll down to see him. That is how fast hashtag actor moves. Does that make sense, guys? So if you have a smaller following, and I mean under 10,000, even 20,000, for a hashtag this large that a lot of you guys are using, you are not showing up as top post because you don't have the following or the engagement. And recent, you're showing up for like 10 seconds, like we just saw. That guy was there. Now I don't even think I can find him. He's way down here now. So by just focusing on these really popular hashtags, you're using hashtags, but you're not using them for results. And you got to think about hashtag actor. Like, that's really broad. That's every actor all over the world's using it. Every actor that's using it all over the world, a voice actor, a theater actor, a high school actor, a 5-year-old actor might be using it. It's not even specific enough to find your tribe. Does that make sense, guys? So we need to get more specific with our tags. I like to look at hashtags on Instagram, like the story of Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. You remember that story? Goldilocks breaks into their house. She eats their food. She sleeps in their beds. It's pretty scandalous. I don't think I should read it to my 5-year-old anymore now that I'm explaining it like that. But hashtags on Instagram are just like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. And here's why. Remember when she breaks into their house and everything is like too big or too small? And then the rest of the last thing is just right. I want you to choose hashtags for Instagram that are just right for you. The hashtag actor, hashtag actor's life, those are too big for most of you if you have a smaller audience to really see results. Okay. Then two small hashtags would be hashtags that have like, no one's really using them. There's like 500 posts. That means no one's searching for them. Or sometimes like our branded hashtags that we add for ourselves. So like for me, it'd be hashtag Heidi Dean, hashtag marketing for actors. Now I'm a business, so people are searching for that. But for the most part, that search volume is going to be much smaller. Those are great to categorize my post, but they're not really great for follower growth. Does that make sense? So in the Goldilocks example, the ones that are too big, actor's life, too small, branded ones, or ones I just make up, make up some slang saying. The ones in the middle, which the numbers are going to be a little bit different depending on your followers, but I'm thinking 10,000 searches to 500 searches. That is the sweet spot for most of your hashtags. Okay? Great. Tell me if that makes sense. I see a lot of people saying, how about Kentucky actress? Yeah, exactly. I don't know the search volume on Kentucky actress, but that is more specific for you. Using hashtag actor with the 33.4 million, was that what it was? Versus if you're in Atlanta actors, I think has 75,000. And if you're an Atlanta actor, guess what? Now your posts are in a smaller feed with like-minded people who you could actually get to know and could affect your career. So it's not just about follower growth, it's also about connection. Cool. Someone says, is it still worth using the major hashtags? Yes, and that's where I'm going next. Now, what I'm explaining right now is usually when I teach this, you can see my screen, you can see my phone, like I have videos on the screen. So I know for some of you, it might not be super clear. I have a free Instagram class for actors that I know we put in the description below that walks you through this process of how to find the right hashtags for you and how to create your own recipe, which we're going to talk about in a second. And it will show you on the screen. So that link is in the description. You guys can get it when I'm done here, or you can go to freeclassforactors.com. Okay, and it's totally free Instagram class. Helps with hashtags, growing your following, and your bio. Okay, cool. But that was a great question. Should we use these big tags? You should still use them, but I want you to change your recipe. A lot of you guys, I see you exclusively focusing on these really big tags. What I want you to do instead is we can use 30 hashtags, guys. I don't care what you read out there. Go to Instagram help. You can use 30 Instagram hashtags if they're relevant to your post. That's where most of us shouldn't be using 30 because maybe there's only 20 that are relevant to our post, right? So you can use a bunch of hashtags, but think of it as a recipe. The main ingredient of that hashtag recipe should be those just right hashtags, the ones that the feed isn't going to move so fast. And the other thing I didn't say is on these smaller hashtags, you may actually show up as a top post. Pretty exciting, right? Because that is where you're going to see growth. So your recipe should be most of these just right hashtags for you. Then we can sprinkle in a dash of the big ones. So sprinkle in actor's life, acting, whichever big ones you guys were using. Okay? Because they are relevant to the post and you still are going to show up in that feed, right? And as your following grows, you're going to lean more into those big ones. And then if you want to add a little dash to that recipe of a branded hashtag your name, that's cool. But that is your new recipe, guys, is more of these just right tags with less search and, that are more specific to you and just a dash of those big ones. Okay. And like I said, this free class, like literally shows you all this on the screen. Awesome. Perfect. I see lots of stuff. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go on. First, we are, I just saw someone say, ain't rocket science too kosher. I'm glad it's not rocket science to you, but to a lot of people, they're not doing this. I can tell you, I work with thousands of actors every year in my online classes for social media and my personal clients. And I go in, I look at their hashtags, and I can tell you, none of them are doing this. So let's applaud to Kosher because apparently they're doing it, and that's awesome. That's awesome. So number one, we said make your post a conversation. Number two, we're going to start using the right hashtags, and they're going to be relevant and they're going to be specific. Okay. Number three, I want you guys to take the Insta out of your Instagram. All right. I'm going to move this so I can see the comments. There we go. So I want you to take the Insta out of your Instagram. Just because you snapped a photo today doesn't mean you have to share it right now. Doesn't mean you have to share it tonight. Doesn't mean you have to share it next week. Okay. And there's so many there's so many reasons for this. But first of all, if you look at anyone that's really successful on Instagram, they are not usually taking a picture and putting it right up there. Okay. First of all, you guys are public figures as an actor. So as your career grows, which is growing every day, right? Your profile is growing. And so you want to be very, very aware of what you're putting out there. Your posts, your pictures can give away so many things. They can spoil projects. They can also give away your location. If you have a family, you want to never post while you're somewhere. Okay, especially as your career grows. If you're a parent of a child actor and you're watching right now, take the Insta out of their Instagram. Never post when you are somewhere for safety for everybody, right? There are a lot of awesome fans out there, but there are a lot of not awesome fans. And another reason you want to take the Insta out of your Instagram is it just helps you get your life back, right? If it's great to take the picture when you're somewhere with your friends and family, or even if you're out by yourself, but then enjoy the moment. Take your life back. You know, you're the boss of your social media. It is not the boss of you. Take the picture, go home later, and then post it. Okay. I know for me, I create much better posts when I'm able to go home, think about the story I want to tell, think about the conversations I want to have with that post. It doesn't take me a long time when I get home and do this, but my posts are just better and I'm safer and everything. So, guys, take the Insta out of your Instagram. Okay. Now, that's all I'm going to say on this because then I'll get down the posting rabbit hole. And the reason I'm not going to go down the posting rabbit hole is because I will be here next week, same awesome channel, same time, talking all about posting. So little teaser about what that will be about. I'm going to show you guys how to set up your posting plan. I'll walk you through the 3 steps of figuring out how to tell your story as a human and an actor on Instagram, what to include, what not to include. And I'm going to give you post ideas for an entire month. Yes, it's going to be awesome. So next week, subscribe to Backstage and you'll be notified. I think that's going to be over here somewhere. But I'll be back talking about posting. So that's all I'm going to say about taking the Insta out of Instagram. You got to wait till next week. Also, I see people saying, see you there. It's going to be awesome. Okay, cool. I'm going to move on to number 4 and 5, which go together so I can take your questions. So number 4 is so many of you guys are posting way, way too much, especially on your grid. Okay. I have a client named Jessica, and she was trying to post every single day on Instagram. And that didn't even include her Facebook page or Twitter. That was just added on top of that. And really, all she got was burnt out, guys. It wasn't sustainable for her. She wasn't getting, her engagement went down. She lost followers. She was really upset when I met her when we were talking about this. And I asked her, why are you trying to post every day? And it's because she read some article saying that's the only way to grow, is that you need to be consistent and need to be posting every day on the feed. And that is just not the case, guys. You have to remember, you're an actor. You're not an Instagram marketer or a marketer. And if you pay attention to people that are marketers, they are posting just a couple times a week, a lot of them. Okay. With the new algorithm, like, you can get away with posting less on the feed and playing on stories. Okay. By posting every day, like my client Jessica, without a plan, because this is before we met, you're pretty much spaghetti posting. And that's even how she explained it. She felt like she was like just throwing something up on her grid to see like if it would stick. And most of the time it wouldn't. And she was posting just for the sake of posting, not posting with a purpose. Okay. She was really focusing on the quantity of post, not the quality. Okay. And I've actually seen a couple of questions. How often should I post a week? I've seen those in this stream, which I can give more specific numbers in the Q&A, but you have to know, guys, if you're posting every day right now and you're not getting good engagement, or even if you're posting 3 or 4 times a week and you're not getting the engagement you want in your post, I want you to stop posting every day on your feed. I want you to post less, because you're actually kind of doing a disservice to yourself, because you're wasting your time a little bit. If you don't have a plan, right? You're doing a disservice to your audience too. And you're probably turning them away and losing followers, just like Jessica. Okay. Does that make sense, guys? And I get it. I know so many actors tell me, well, isn't it true if I post more often, I'm going to get more in front of more people with my hashtags and I'm going to get more followers? And if you start using hashtags correctly, yes, that is partially true. But that was more fact when Instagram was small. And now Instagram is huge. So unless you're a celebrity or an influencer with lots of followers already, that is not necessarily the best strategy to grow your following. And don't worry, number 5 is about the best strategy to grow your following. Well, we'll get there in a second. So I would rather see you guys post one intentional, one thoughtful, one inviting post a week than 7 mediocre posts that don't help add to your story. Okay. And the great thing is that gives you time to increase, better the quality of your post. You can tell better stories. You can have better conversations, like what we talked about in number 1. And then as your engagement increases, you can increase your post. But most of the people that I work with, most of the people that I audit their Instagram, they're not ready if they don't have a plan to post that often. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. Post with a purpose. Yes, you have to be posting with a purpose, not just to post it to check it off your to-do list. And I'm all about to-do list, but it needs to be with a purpose. Cool. Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So number 4 really was post less, guys, on your feed, right? We're talking about feed, not story. So post less. Well, if number 4 is post less, number 5 is engage more. And really, the secret to growing your following in 2020 on Instagram is to post less, engage more. So I want you guys to write that down if you can. Post less, engage more. I'm going to show you something I worked with a client this morning. So half of this is done. So we're going to talk about follower growth strategy. I think this is backwards because I'm using this camera, but just work with me here if it's backwards. It'll be more fun. So on Instagram, there are 2 types of follower growth strategies. We have active strategies and passive follower growth strategies. An example of a passive follower growth strategy is hashtags. Okay. Then another passive follower growth strategy would be to create shareable posts. So this is really the knowledge of how to create shareable posts. Those are passive. Once you learn how to do them, they don't take much effort. You know what hashtags you're going to use. You know how to use them. Shareable posts, once you post, other people are sharing it. If you haven't noticed on Instagram, there's a little button under every post. It's a paper airplane. It allows people to share your post. Creating shareable posts has actually been one of the big strategies. It's how I've got extra 10,000 followers last year. I have posts that have been shared 400 times to stories, 500 times. Do the math. If the average Instagram account has 500 followers, I'm getting in front of a lot of people because I know how to do shareable post. Like I said, that will be next week's topic. Okay, cool. So these are passive strategies, right? Active strategies are engagement. And I just saw a comment in there that says posting less will give us more time to engage on our quality posts. Exactly. They're going to give you more time to engage in the comments, engage with your existing followers, and they're going to give you more time to engage with new followers. Okay. So active strategies are through engagement, and I'm just going to put collabs. You'll know that's collaborations. Now, really, a follower growth strategy should be both. Your follower growth strategy should include both active and passive strategies. Okay. You should be knowing how to create shareable posts. You should be using the hashtags correctly, and you should be doing these active strategy. That is the best strategy. However, what I see a lot of you guys doing is you're only doing this one. You're focusing all your time on these passive strategies. You're posting, you're using hashtags, but then you stop there. And the problem is that is not really enough in 2020 to see growth. You have to add some of these active strategies. Okay. Now, to really understand this concept, you've got to see Instagram like me. And Instagram is like a giant party, okay? And think millions and millions of people. So if you just sit back at this party and post a little bit and you wait for people to find you, you're not going to meet that many friends. I mean, that's just how the platform's set up, sadly, right? But if you go out and you start introducing yourself to people, active strategies through engagement, and introducing yourself on Instagram could be liking people's posts, commenting, giving someone a shout out in their stories, right? figuring out who the target audience for your account is, finding them and engaging with them for 5 minutes a day. You will see growth. Or at this Instagram party, it's finding a friend, finding a new friend who has an audience on Instagram that would love your account, and then having them introduce you at the party. Does that make sense? So I really want you guys to start treating Instagram like a party. Start stepping outside your circle of friends and figuring out who will like your account. And when we get to Q&A, I'll give you 3 questions to figure out how to do this. Go find these people and introduce yourself to people every day through engagement. These little social signals will increase your following, okay? And the great thing about active strategies is where passive strategies are like steady. You can see a couple followers here or there when your following is small, okay? Just dropped my cap. Sorry, that was loud. Passive strategies, like I said, when your following is small, you're just gonna like see slow, steady growth. If you have a larger following, you'll be a little more steady. Active strategies, though, that is where your graph is more like this, especially with collaborations. You're going to see bigger growth there, okay? So very, very important that we do both of these. And this is actually something that free Instagram class for actors that I told you about in the description. I dive into the balance of posting less, engaging more in that class. So that will break that down a little bit more for you. Okay. Whew. Great question. Can you expand on collabs? That's Nina, Shane, and Gabriel. What exactly and how do you collab on Instagram? Perfect question. There's a million ways to collaborate on Instagram. They can start out very simple through a shout out for shout out. And I'm not talking like shout out for shout out like in the comments. You find somebody that has a similar account as you. It could be somebody you already know or somebody new. And you guys do a shout out for shout out. A lot of these are happening on stories. And they shout you out on one day, you shout them out another day. You're shouting each other out. It could be sharing. They're sharing one of your posts. You're sharing one of those posts. That is the simplest collaboration out there and usually is done for free if you reach out to someone that has a similar audience size. Okay. Other collaborations, Instagram takeovers. We see them all the time. Backstage hosted one this morning with Elizabeth Stanley. I wish I could have watched it. Instagram takeovers. That is an example of a collaboration. Sponsored posts are also collaboration. Instagram lives. Going live with another account on Instagram is a fantastic collaboration, and here's why. If you go live on Instagram, your audience is going to get a little alert. That little alert that comes up at the top. Heidi Dean is now live. But if I go live with, I think, Gabriel, if I went live with you on Instagram, your audience will also get a notification that says Gabriel is now live. So guess what? By going live with somebody else, which is an example of a collaboration, you are now tapping into each other's audiences. Collaboration where you could actually see huge follower growth. Let me know, Gabriel, and the other 2 people that I no longer can see, if that makes sense. Those are basic collaborations. And really you have to know, something I teach in my Insta actor class is like, I teach about collaborations, and really the collaborations you do at 500 followers are very different than the collaborations you do at 500,000. And in the class, I have a lesson where we walk through what type of collaborations you do early on versus when you've got a lot of followers, okay? And even how to reach out to people. Awesome. AP Suave, I love your name. I think I just answered your question. You're an excellent teacher. Oh, thank you. I love to teach, and I love, love, love Instagram. So how do we figure out our target audience? Okay, great. So I'm going to give you three questions to help you figure out. I'll give you the Reader's Digest version because I have a gazillion questions. So usually for an actor, your tribe is going to do what you do, love what you love, or be fans of the show that you're on or in. Those are really the 3 ways you find your audience, because you have to know, and we're going to talk about it next week when I talk about posting, that you're not just posting about your actor's life. Not if you're being successful on social media for your career. You're also giving us little pieces of your story outside your acting career. We're going to learn a little bit more about who you are, as long as it aligns with your brand. Maybe you're really into fitness and that totally aligns with, the type of roles you play. Maybe you're a mom and that's like, you play roles like that anyways. You're going to let us in there, right? So your tribe obviously are going to be people that do what you do. That may be actors, that may be fellow actors, but also might be people who love what you love. If you're posting about like, oh, the silly things that happen when you have a 5-year-old, then I know about that. So if that was my brand and I played moms all the time on TV, it's like, then I could actually get a fan base of other moms, right? If I'm on a show, obviously the fans of that show, or if I've been on a show, the fans of those shows um, would be an audience. So those are 3 ways you can really start researching who they'd be. But to actually find them, there are 3 very specific questions. And those are when you guys are trying to find your audience on Instagram and Twitter, ask yourself, who do they follow? So who do these people follow that would like my account? Those people that what I just said, they do what you do, they love what you love, or they're fans of your show. Who do they follow? So what accounts? Make a big list of like-minded accounts that they follow. What hashtags do they use? Okay, hashtags are conversations. Write down what hashtags they use. And where do they hang out offline? And this is especially important for Instagram, because on Instagram, 1 in 4 posts actually have a geotag on them. They have a location, which is pretty awesome, because if you know that your audience is in a certain location, like for me, my audience is actors and artists. So like I could actually go into Geotags, look up SAG location, the SAG office in New York or in LA, and anyone that has tagged their post with that, I can actually go engage with them, right? I can invite them back to join my tribe. So the way do you find them? You go right into search on Instagram. You look at the target accounts. Who do they follow? You look at hashtags. What hashtags do they use? And where do they hang out offline? Okay. And then you go into location search and you find them. It just gave you gold right there. Literally, you can find your audience. And what do you do with that information? You use active strategies. You go and engage with them. So with those like-minded accounts, who do they follow? You go engage with that account's audience. Okay. So we'll just use the example. Maybe you want to engage with fellow actors. Backstage. Who do they follow? Maybe they follow Backstage. So you look at the followers of Backstage and you go engage with them. Or you find a like-minded account and you collaborate with them. Okay? That is the Reader's Digest version I can give you without showing you a million things and showing you search on screen. Someone says, remind us your name, please. Oh, I'm Heidi Dean. And I actually have a YouTube channel too, youtube.com/Heidi Dean. It's all social media and online marketing tips. So from actor websites to IMDb and social media, it is all there. Let's see. I see Murray is here. Hi, Murray. I didn't see your comment, but I see someone was responding to you. Cool clock. Yes. Oh, geotags. Julia May Wong wants to know what a geotag is. When you post your post on Instagram, you can add a location. It's a geotag. So it's just a location. 1 in 4 posts on Instagram have a location on them. So it's actually a great way to tap into your tribe. Regina, still confused about engaging. It's because I could spend probably an hour, 2 hours on engagement strategies, and I could spend 2 or 3 hours on collaboration strategies. And I want to get to as many questions as possible. But that free Instagram class for actors that I talked about, we talk about the different strategies. Okay, so that's in the description, or free class for actors. Okay, so I have a couple questions that Katie texted me. Too kosher. Should an actor message a casting director on Instagram? If you don't know them, Instagram is not the audition. It is not the booking. It is a handshake. It's the introduction, right? So you need to start looking at how you're approaching your relationships on social media. And you know that whole thing I told you, number 1, about you need to start treating your posts like a conversation. You need to start treating them more like a telephone, less like a TV. Same thing about your relationships. If you are constantly messaging people who you want to know, who you don't know yet, like a television, and know that so many actors are doing this. They're not even looking at it. You're broadcasting at them instead of actually talking with them and trying to have conversations about what they like, maybe outside the acting world. The chances that you are actually going to be successful, probably not so hot, unless you have a verified check mark next to your name and a big following. Okay. Too kosher. I mean, I love the name, but just make sure that all your social media, I know we're on YouTube and a lot of people have it's like their email address, but make sure that your social media looks good. If you're ever going to message anybody, make sure your first impression looks awesome. And that is what I talked about 2 weeks ago. You can just look up the Backstage lives during this time. I walked you through 10 ways to clean up your social media. So it works for you, not against you when you are networking. But most of the time, you should not just be randomly writing people. You need to develop that relationship first, and leading with something about yourself. I imagine that's what you're messaging them about, instead of actually tapping into their conversations and what's important to them and building that relationship. That's the way to do it, not just randomly messaging people. Okay. It's kind of a totally unrelated comment to our topic. So, but yes, you need to build that social clout. You need to build that relationship with them before you ask them for anything. You need to give, and then ask. Okay. Emily says, my current Instagram is private. Should I make a separate one, a separate public one as an actor, or can I keep mine private while trying to connect with casting directors? Well, I'll be very honest. Like, if you want to grow your account, if you want to use it as a public figure, you need to have a public account. Nobody, no, like, I don't follow people if I can't see what their posts are about. Right. And especially if you're reaching out to, if you're trying to connect with casting directors who you already know, or people in the business you already know, then you can do that on a private account, because they're going to see your name and they'll be like, okay, cool. But if you're trying to reach out to new people and build new relationships, a private account is not the way to do it. They can't really see who you are, right? They can't enter your world. And if you're using it for your career, you really need to have a public account. What we're going to talk about next week. So Emily Shaw, join me next week. Sound like I'm doing my own commercials, but I'll be here for Backstage again. And we're going to talk about why you don't necessarily need to have a private and a personal account, that you should just have a brand that you have as an actor, that these are the things you talk about on the red carpet, on interviews, on social media, right? And that is the story that you tell. And it's the same. There's no public account, private account, because you have to know over time, if you have a private Instagram and a public Instagram, or the same thing on Facebook or Twitter, nothing is private on social media. And especially because a lot of people you're friends with are people that you've worked with. So there's really no reason to have two. It creates too much work, too much stress, and inevitably someone can screenshot something anyway. So if you're doing it to hide something, which I don't think you are, Emily, then having them separate is not the way to go. And that's what we're going to talk about next week, is how to do that. Okay. All right. So I am going to scroll over here. Should you separate personal / actor accounts and fitness accounts? Courtney, well, it depends what fitness accounts mean. Do you also teach fitness and like sell fitness products and all of that? Then yes, maybe if your audience is not going to be the same audience on both accounts, then yes, you're hurting yourself. You always have to ask if you're a multi-artist, a multi-hyphenate, and you have two different, you're thinking, should I have one or two accounts? Who is the audience for each of those businesses, jobs? Who's the audience? If they're the same, you might be able to marry them. If it's just your love of fitness, well then, hey, as an actor, you have to stay fit. If I see somebody's account and they're an actor and they're, occasionally talking about staying fit and healthy, that tells me like, I want to work with you, right? You're healthy. It might be part of your brand. Maybe you do stunts. Maybe you're like The Rock, who showing his workouts is part of his brand. So, Courtney, I need a little bit more information. Is it that you're actually like, a fitness trainer and you're selling supplements and all that? Then yeah, you may want to separate the two. But if it's just that your love of fitness, or that's part of who you are, then there's no reason you can't show that to us. Shannon Harris, do you have a class or do you teach about stories? Yeah, actually my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Heidi Dean. I have a whole bunch of videos about stories there. And I do have a class called Insta Actor. You can just message me and I will find me on social media, marketing for actors, and I can give you the information. And I have a whole module on how to use stories. Okay. Because stories is where the party's at right now, guys. Like I said, we should be posting less on the feed and engaging more, but that doesn't mean we can't be engaging in stories. Okay. Instagram always tells us what things they want us to focus on. And you can tell that right now they want us to go live. Live is like at the top of the stories. They want us to use stories. Not only is it at the top, they constantly remind us as we go through our feed, right? They want us to use IGTV because they are showing IGTV previews more than other things in the feed. Okay. They're always giving us hints. Just sometimes it's hard if you guys don't live in the social media world like I do 24/7 to see these hints. Okay. Um, Roger, we did actually touch upon engaging with casting directors on Instagram. You can engage with them. You just need to be smart about how you're doing. You need to give, ask. It's just, it's not Instagram, Twitter. They're fantastic because you have access to gatekeepers who you would, you have access to people who you would never have before. There's like no gatekeepers. It's awesome. But you also have to know that it's not the place just to approach someone and say, hey, look at my reel. Can I get an audition? That's not how it works. It's the place to build relationships. It's the place to maintain relationships with people you already know. And then once you've done that, if your first impression looks great and you're engaging with me all the time, I'm going to tell you right now, after a little while, I will click over to your account. And if your website link is there, I'm going to probably go look at it, or your YouTube channel. It is human nature. If you're engaging with me on a human level, if you're asking me constantly, can I do this for you? Can I do this for you? I am busy, and I'm not being rude. I'm busy. Casting director's busy. If I don't know you, why would I do this? And it's not that I'm being mean. I'm like one of the nicest people out there. I just don't have time. So engaging with casting directors is fine. You just really have to think about, what's in it for them right now? Have you invested anything in them first? Okay. Okay. Post a story or regular post, Lauren says both. Post to both, right? But like I said, post less on your feed, engage more, and then spend more time on stories. Okay. What is your Instagram address? I'm not really sure what you mean by that. You mean your Instagram handle? That is your username. Your Instagram link, maybe you mean, because I know people do follow streams a lot on social media. So your Instagram link would be, it's instagram.com/your username. And when if you're on desktop and you just look yourself up, it's up at the top. Okay. Hello, Julian from San Francisco. You rock. Oh, thank you. You rock too. Does it matter where you post your numbers? Can you explain what numbers mean? All right. I didn't see who just asked me this because it just bumped, but somebody just said, would you mind looking at my Instagram and telling me if I'm doing these right things? This is a perfect example. It's like, and I'm not, saying anything bad about anyone, but what's in it for me? I have 35,000 Instagram followers. I have almost 30,000 Twitter followers. I have a big community on my email list. I've got my own YouTube channel. I've got a Facebook group. I have a lot of people. I have students and clients. I have a family. I have a 5-year-old. Let's talk about that's the biggest thing in coronavirus time. I have a 5-year-old at home. So when you ask me, can I go look at your thing? You have to know that like I have all these other people that I'm doing stuff for them. And some of them are clients and students. Some of them are my family. So it's the same with casting directors, guys. Same with anything. Producers, people you don't know yet, because I don't know you yet. I can't go look at your thing right now because there's other things I have to do. Okay. But go to my YouTube channel. Like I said, there are a gazillion videos that will help you there. Okay, cool. Oh, great. I pronounced your last name, Emily. Awesome. I'm usually terrible about that. So yay me. Okay. Does a business account matter? Great question. Well, right now there's actually 3 types of accounts. I keep saying my YouTube channel because I want to get through questions, but I have a video on my YouTube channel that is about should you have a personal account or a business account as an actor. So just look that up and you're going to get a detailed explanation with like videos with screenshots that tell you the differences. But right now there's a regular account, we have a creator account, and we have a business account. We have 3 accounts now. What? And really an actor can be perfectly happy with any of the 3. Instagram has come out numerous times, but they actually just came out and have said once again, if you have any of those accounts, you will show up the same with the feed algorithm. And I can tell you personally, I have switched. I've tried out all 3 for an extended period of time, doing the same type of post and everything, and I have not seen a change in engagement. So in terms of should you be on one because you might get preferential treatment in the feed? No, you can be on any one. A business account is great if you want to use a scheduler, and a scheduler can be really helpful if you have, like, if you've done photo shoots, if you work a lot and you can queue up a lot of posts. If you have a business account, you can actually schedule posts ahead of time. you can't use a scheduler with a regular Instagram account anymore. That was a change this last year. So that's a big perk. Creator accounts and business accounts have better like direct message features. You can actually like organize your inbox. So I can mark things like flagged on red, and I can sift through my own inbox, which is really super helpful actually. You also, the best part of Instagram creator account and business account is the amazing analytics I get. So if you go to the top corner of your account, I don't know if you can see the 3 lines at the top, and then you go to insights, you can go into audience, and you are going to get all sorts of graphs about like your follower count, where they're located, their age, best times to post to reach your audience. So it's a really, really valuable information, and you only get this on business accounts and creator accounts. Okay, so hopefully that helps, and just look up that YouTube video that is Instagram business versus regular account as an actor. Okay, so I can help as many people here as I can. Where can I, some places I can try to book acting jobs. That's a totally unrelated topic. Go to Backstage. Go to Backstage. Okay. Christiane, I've kind of addressed this question. Come back next week because this is what we're talking about next week. Should I have a private and a personal account, or can I have one that I post acting and personal stuff? You are not just your acting career. You have to post. You are so much more than your bookings, guys. Okay, and you have to let us in to more than that. You have to know that your followers, they care about your most recent booking, but even more, they want to know how you're just like them. Okay, so if you're only posting about your acting career, not only are you going to run out of things to post eventually, because not all actors work all the time, just not even the biggest ones do. You're going to run out of things to post, except for like Flashback Fridays and Wayback Wednesdays and Throwback Thursdays, and that's going to get pretty old. But also, you're not going to connect with us on any level but your projects. And when that project is over, people aren't going to really care that much, right? And I hate to say that, but you need to leave little breadcrumbs about your story. You don't have to tell us everything, and that's what we're going to talk about next week. You need to figure out what your public persona is online as an actor, and that includes what you're comfortable posting about and what you're not comfortable posting about. And there is your online brand. And that includes both acting and personal stuff. Okay? So, all right. Perfect. Okay, this is so small. Will I discuss capitalizing on stories next week? Well, I'm talking about a posting strategy next week. But if we have time in the Q&A, I totally will. I feel like I'm plugging my Instagram chat, my YouTube channel, but I look up 12 Instagram story tips for actors. And it's going to give you like all sorts of cool tips and hacks to make really engaging stories that will help you, always show up at the front of the feed and get your followers engaging. Okay. Let's see. What can we do to hold attention of followers? Well, I don't know if you were here for number one. Number one was making your post a conversation. Okay. If you're caring about your followers, if you are engaging with them, if you're asking them questions and not just making it about you, you will hold their attention. Okay. Also, you have to know the structure of a post too. Like every time you post, don't just throw it up there. I want you to think 3 things. It's like the day of giving you 3 questions to ask. Always think 3 things every time you post. What do I want them to see? And on Instagram, we have so many things, whether it's a boomerang or we hop into stories and that's where the post is. We have so many different things that we can, have them see, whether it's us, it's what we're seeing, whether it's face filters. Think, what do I want them to see? Then I want you to ask, how do I want to make them feel? Okay, your vibe attracts your tribe. So how do I want to make them feel in this post? And then last, what do I want to make them do? That's your call to action. That's your conversation. If you are doing those 3 things effectively, you will hold people's attention. You will get them to engage, and they'll also tap into you on a whole different level if you're really thinking about how do I want to make them feel. Okay. All right. How do you hashtag Instagram stories and IGTV? Well, you can actually put hashtags in your IGTVs now. in the actual description, because if you are pushing your IGTV to your feed, then as a teaser. A lot of people don't know you can do that now. If you have an IGTV channel, you upload a video, you put the little description. Your last choice is going to be, can I tease this? Do you want to make a little teaser post for your feed? And this is a great way to get eyes on your IGTV video, but also Instagram is pushing these posts out more, these little teasers. Like when I do one of those, my engagement, like my views are through the roof versus just posting a regular video. So keep that in mind, because they want people to watch IGTV. So because this teaser shows up in our feed as a post, and that description on the IGTV shows up as the caption, you can put hashtags in there and it will help you rank. Let me know if that makes sense. Abstract talent number 11. In your stories, we can actually use up to 11 hashtags in our stories. I know that sounds crazy, but you can either use a hashtag sticker or you can just manually type it. And if you guys want to use 11 hashtags in your story, you can type one and you can actually move it really small and either hide it behind a sticker or just hold your finger down and it will disappear with the color behind it. So you can actually have your Instagram stories show up in more stories feeds by making them really, really small. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you're going to try that out or if that's something new for you guys. Raya Louise, great question. Hashtags in the comments or captions right now, they come up exactly the same. I test this over and over again. And right now you can put them in the first comment. So everybody, let me back up so everyone knows what I'm saying. When you post, you can actually put your hashtags in the caption itself, or you can immediately hit comment after you post and then put them in the first comment. Okay, and there's actually a lot of Instagram schedulers, like I use Planoly. They actually will do the first comment method for you. It's just part of the posting now. It's pretty cool. But if you are putting in your caption, just be aware of where you're sending that post. You might want to hit return dot, push those hashtags down so that they're really just not noticeable. You may also want to think about if you're pushing those posts somewhere, like to Facebook. If you're always pushing your Instagram to Facebook, then maybe putting the hashtags in the caption isn't the way to go. Because then now on Facebook, we can see all of them and it looks kind of spammy and it looks like, wow, this post was for Instagram, right? So then you might want to do the first comment option. All right. What time of day? Whoa, this thing just moved really fast, but what time of day do you suggest posting? It is different for everyone. If you ever see an article that is these are the best times to post for Instagram, it is based on your audience. So a lot of those articles are written for businesses, right? They're telling you, do it on lunch breaks. And it just doesn't match up with when your audience may be on, especially if your audience is made of artists. Okay. So in terms of time of day, actually the new Instagram algorithm factors in 3 things. It factors in interest, it factors in relationships, and it factors in the timing of your post. In the past, sorry, I'm speaking so fast because you guys have so many questions. In the past, the feed, it would pretty much anybody's post would show up on our feed if we were following them. But Instagram would favor relationships more than timing, right? So if we were really good friends with somebody, they would always be at the top of our feed, even if that post, they hadn't posted for 2 weeks, and they hop on and post something, or sorry, if we hadn't been on for 2 weeks, we're still seeing this post from 2 weeks ago. Well, I don't care what my relationship is with them. The timing of the post is more important to me. And that's now what Instagram's doing. So now we're seeing more recent posts at the top of our feed, meaning knowing your best time to post for your account, which we can get in our analytics if you have that business or creator account. That's what I had said a little bit earlier. We can see the best time to post for our account. It's in our insights and it's the very bottom graph. Knowing that time, if I know that I have on my account 10,000 people on at 3 o'clock on Wednesdays versus 11 o'clock when I only have 3,000 people on of my audience, when do you think I'm going to post? Right? I'm going to post at that time when I know more people are on, especially because I know timeliness of post is important. Okay. All right. I'm going to. All right. Sorry, I had to just report somebody's nasty comment. Okay, cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to wrap it up because it's 2 o'clock. But this person says, I noticed the slowest interactions happen around 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Totally different for everyone. My analytics, 3 p.m. is the best time for me to post. So if you've noticed that, then that's not a good time for your account, right? That won't be a good time for you to post. All right, perfect. Advice on bio personalization. I'm going to say go to freeclassforactors.com. That Instagram class literally is going to walk you through the 5 things to put in your bio and best practices. Like, you guys are using way too many hashtags in your bio and you're sending people away. You are sending people off your profile and they're not even following you. Okay. And that class will break all that down for you. All right. Okay, guys. So I'm going to answer one more and let me find it. And then I'm going to sign off because it's been an hour and I have a 5-year-old waiting for me because there is no school right now. Okay. Sorry. Can I post my hobbies like singing or drumming on my Actors Insta too? Of course. I mean, you have to look at, you guys are artists now, not just actors. Like, how many times, I mean, if you do Broadway, like if you do theater, how many shows nowadays now are the actors actually playing instruments as well? I know this because my husband's a Broadway actor. Like, I mean, there have been so many productions where playing a drum or being able to sing might be helpful, right? There's so many films nowadays, now that we've got all the live Broadway stuff, we've got all these, live shows, musicals on TV, right? So many shows have singing now. So definitely that's a talent. You're not just an actor, you're an artist. So yeah, include your singing. It's hard for me to say. I think it's either Joanna or Johan. So I'm answering your question. So yeah, you're singing, you're drumming. Yes, show us these talents. These are things that actually can get you cast, and there are things that are going to catch our eye in the feed, right? Show us your talents, guys. Share them with the world right now. It's so important. All right. So, and just as a note with what's going on right now in the world, guys, don't be afraid to be creative and put that out in the world. Like, that is your job as an artist. Oh, I wish my daughter just did a project for school and they had to write a book. She's in kindergarten, so it's very basic, but she just wrote this 3-page story that says, I cannot play with my friends anymore because of the virus. Page 2 said, that makes me sad. Ugh, it broke my heart. But then page 3 said, I will make my friends pictures because that makes them smile. And that is the true definition of an artist. I'm going to cry right now. But that is the true definition of what it means to be an artist. So go out there, make people smile, make people cry, don't stop making art, okay? And do that on your social media, okay? Now more than ever, it is your job as an artist, okay? I just totally digress, but she made that and I was just like, oh, I have a little artist. She is just the definition of an artist, but that is what you guys need to be doing as well. Okay. All right. So, like I said, I will be back here next week talking about how to set up your posting plan. And I'm super excited for that. If you guys want to catch up with me anywhere else, I am at marketingforactors.com. And there's like over 100 free resources there to help you with your social media and online marketing specifically for artists. Okay. I told you about the YouTube channel at Heidi Dean and that free class for actors.com. It's a free Instagram class for actors. So thank you guys so much for joining me here today. And I will see you guys next week. I will see you on social and have a great day. See you on social, guys. Bye. Thanks for joining me.